Hey, this is Josh, developer of One More Run. It's finally time for a preview of the upcoming 0.1.40 update, Expanded Arsenal. This is the first named update, and in a moment you'll probably see why. There's a lot going on here. So, first off, the meatiest change coming to the game is 8 new weapons. Each class will now get a choice of 3 different weapons at the start of a run. A lot of care has been put into making each of these weapons feel unique to play, and bringing a different spin to its respective class. With this update, I've also added the first iteration of a weapon type system. Weapons fall into 3 categories: kinetic, energy, and hybrid. This will determine which mechanics certain weapons get access to, and some weapons can even have access to 2 of these types depending on circumstances such as upgrades or what firing mode the weapon's in. Existing weapons also got an overhaul. Some just got a facelift, such as new visuals and audio. Others, though, got a complete overhaul. A good example of that is the scattergun. It never really lived up to the potential of the original design, and I've made sure that's changed. I think the scattergun will definitely be a favorite for some who like boomsticks. This isn't the end where new weapons are concerned either. A lot of work has been put into optimizing my weapon creation pipeline. I've really shied away from creating new weapons in the past because I really hate when games have samey attack patterns, samey weapon designs, samey spells. What's the difference between this one and this one? Oh, it shoots one more projectile. I didn't want to fall into that trap. And so I've really kind of taken a lot of time prior to this kind of an update, just getting a feel for what I want the identity of One More Run to be where weapons are concerned. And now that I feel pretty confident in that, we're ready to kind of see where things can go. So as new ideas come to me, I'll be layering in plenty more unlockable weapons in the future, both class specific and class agnostic, but hopefully each of them feels like they bring something fresh to the game. So I'm actually holding back a big part of this update as well. It's mostly done, I'd say about 90% finished, but I realized about a week ago that this update's already incredibly meaty, and there's a lot of balance and optimization needed for everything that just got added. So I'm actually going to dial this update back slightly just to make sure I'm not biting off more than I can chew as a developer. And once this current update is polished, I will then go ahead and layer that final component in. So on that note, if Mage feels like it's taking a step back from a balance perspective, getting a bit of a nerf, that's because of that final weapon feature that was going to also really benefit Mage. So sorry for Mage mains. I promise you the developer also considers himself a Mage main, and it pains me to nerf Mage, but it had to be done. Mage was overpowered. So back to talking about crazy new stuff. As of the time of this recording, 19 new upgrades will be added with this update. These range from foundational upgrades like weapon fall off for the kinetic weapons, up to significantly game-changing upgrades like the Dragon's Breath Legendary for the scattergun, which adds a burning effect to every projectile and changes the weapon type from kinetic to hybrid. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of new upgrades in our future as well, because similarly to the weapon creation pipeline, I've done a lot of work on the upgrade pipeline as well, so that as ideas come to me, it's not a question of do I have the time, just a question of do I want to prioritize this over the 100 other things on my list. Next, we have a feature that came about a bit out of necessity. I was feeling some burnout from just grinding out weapon after weapon over this last month, and I needed a little side project to break things up so that the weapon design stayed fresh. The end result is actually a feature that I'm almost as excited about as the core weapons update. World events already exist in One More Run as a background, sort of a hidden dungeon master mechanic, just very subtly changing runs, changing world design, things like that. But now this is a much more central component of the game's design. At the end of each run, your in-game actions and your overall progress are checked, and depending on those factors, a world event could be triggered. Additionally, a random dice roll determines additional random world events that will be layered on top, so even once you've gotten deep into the progression, you're still going to see plenty of new things that keep the run fresh. These events can be lightweight attribute changes that just might change your build a little bit, but they also can be off the wall or significantly mechanics changing components that make a run feel completely different, maybe even break the balance a little bit. Lastly, a run difficulty system has been added. I knew from talking on the Discord with people that there's a lot of demand to be able to fully clear the entire map, kill every boss without the run ending. So a component of that is I needed to figure out a way to properly scale these bosses as you clear them, instead of just eventually reaching a point where you one-shot every boss. The power fantasy is fun, but I also want to make sure that we're still giving a engaging experience. So this is resulting in run pacing getting a big refresh in 0.1.40. Run difficulty is another feature that already had plenty going on behind the scenes, but now it's made good and properly official. As you defeat bosses, the run difficulty will automatically scale up, increasing both the difficulty but also the reward. This isn't purely numerical changes though. Entire boss mechanics are gated behind run difficulty. So if you fight Prometheus at run difficulty 1 versus run difficulty 7, you will actually have to engage with the boss very differently. In some cases, even the boss itself changes with increased run difficulty. And I'll leave that up to you guys to gradually discover these boss variants as they're added over time. A quick note for anyone who's still chasing leaderboard spots. This will be going to staging a bit before the 14th to allow time for testing. But the leaderboard submissions will still need to be on the production build just to make sure that the leaderboard's fair to everyone. Alright, that does it for this video. I'm really excited for you guys to try the expanded Arsenal update. Tentatively, I'm hoping to get it to staging in probably the next 4 to 5 days. So maybe on the 11th or 12th. But we'll see if I find any critical bugs before then.